The Vrelian Empire had won wars on 47 different planets. They were the strongest force in the galaxy, and no one could stop them. Their secret was not better guns or bigger ships. Their secret was a creature called the Nexar. The Nexar was built to be the perfect killer. The Vrelians had spent thousands of years creating this monster. It stood 3 meters tall, covered in black scales that could turn hard as steel. It had 6 legs, each ending in claws sharp enough to cut through metal. Its eyes could see in complete darkness. Its nose could smell fear from miles away. It could hear a heartbeat through walls. Every planet that saw the Nexar surrendered within days. People would watch this creature hunt. Watch it move like liquid shadow, and they would lose all hope. That was the point. The Nexar was not just a weapon. It was fear made real. Commander Hyuk stood in the control room of the invasion ship. He looked at the blue and green planet below, Earth. The humans called it home. Hyuk had studied these creatures for months. They were weak. Their skin tore easily. Their bones broke with little force. They needed machines to fly, to see in the dark, to stay warm. They were prey animals who thought they were hunters. "Sir, we are ready," said Minho, his second officer. "Should we send the warning message first?" Hyuk clicked his mandibles together, the Vrelian version of a smile. "No. Let the Nexar be their first message. Release Subject Omega-7 over their largest cities. Let them see what real predators look like." The plan was simple and had worked 47 times before. Drop the Nexar into population centers. Let it hunt. Let people see that their weapons, their walls, their courage meant nothing. Within 3 days, maybe less, they would beg to surrender. The containment pod launched from the ship. It fell through Earth's atmosphere, burning bright like a falling star. Inside, Subject Omega-7 waited. It had not eaten in 2 days. It was hungry. It was ready. The pod landed in the Han River near the city the humans called Seoul. The water hissed and steamed as the hot metal touched it. The pod opened. The Nexar climbed out, water sliding off its scales. It lifted its head and smelled the air. Millions of prey animals all around. This would be easy. It moved through the shadows along the river. Its scales changed color to match the darkness. Its claws made no sound on the concrete. It was invisible. It was death. The creature found a tall building and began to climb. Its sensors told it there were life forms inside. Small ones, perfect for the first kill. The first kill was always important. It set the tone. Inside a small apartment on the 8th floor, Ji-won was having the worst night of her life.
She had failed her job interview that morning.
Her boyfriend had sent her a mean text message in the afternoon. And now at 3 in the morning, her grandmother's cat would not stop screaming. "Kimchi, please," she begged the orange cat. "It's 3 a.m., what do you want?" Kimchi sat by the balcony door and yowled. His tail lashed back and forth. His eyes were wide and angry. "Fine, go outside. I don't care anymore." Ji-won slid the glass door open. Kimchi strutted onto the balcony like a king inspecting his kingdom. His tail was high. His head was up. He owned this balcony. He owned this building. He owned this whole city as far as he was concerned. Then he stopped. His fur stood up. His tail became 3 times its normal size. Something wrong was climbing up the building. Something that smelled like metal and blood and other worlds. The Nexar pulled itself over the balcony rail. It landed in a crouch, ready to spring. Its sensors scanned the small space. 1 life form. Very small. Perhaps 2 kilograms. This would take seconds. Then it saw the cat. Kimchi's back arched. Every hair on his body stood straight up. His ears went flat against his head. And then he made a sound. It was not a meow. It was not a hiss. It was something from the bottom of his chest, something that sounded like a demon trapped in a small furry body. It was the sound of pure territorial rage. The Nexar froze. This was wrong. Prey animals ran, they hid. They screamed and died. They did not make sounds like that. They did not walk forward, but Kimchi was walking forward. His legs were stiff. His body was sideways. He looked twice his actual size, and he was coming straight at the Nexar with no fear at all. The Nexar's brain, designed by the best Vrelian scientists, tried to process this. The creature was tiny. The Nexar could kill it with 1 claw. But the cat's eyes said something different. The cat's eyes said it had killed things bigger than the Nexar before breakfast. The cat's eyes said it was ready to do it again. The Nexar took a step back. Kimchi took a step forward and screamed again. This time it was louder, more angry. How dare this thing come to his balcony? His territory, his home? On the command ship, Hyuk stared at his screens. What is happening? Why is Subject Omega-7's heart rate increasing? Minho looked at the video feed. Sir, there is a small animal. Our database says it is called a cat. Felis catus, domesticated, non-threatening. Humans keep them as pets. Then why is the Nexar backing away? Neither of them had an answer. On the balcony, the standoff continued. Kimchi had backed the Nexar all the way to the railing. The alien creature's 6 legs were shaking. Its advanced predator brain was screaming warnings, danger, threat, apex predator. But that made no sense. The cat was so small, Jiwon came to the door to see what Kimchi was yelling about. She expected to see a bird or maybe another cat. She did not expect to see a 3-meter-tall alien monster pressed against her balcony railing, looking terrified of her grandmother's cat. Oh my God, she whispered. She grabbed her phone and started recording. Her hands were shaking, but she kept the camera steady. Kimchi decided the Nexar was not leaving fast enough. He gathered his legs under him and jumped, claws out, aiming for the creature's face. The Nexar panicked. It threw itself backward over the railing, falling into the night. Its combat training saved it. It caught the building's wall with its claws and hung there, 8 floors up, breathing hard. Above, Kimchi sat on the railing and cleaned his paw. He had defended his territory. The threat was gone. Everything was as it should be. Jiwon picked up the cat. Her heart was pounding. Good boy, Kimchi. Very good boy. She looked at the video on her phone. She had recorded everything. The alien climbing over the rail. Kimchi puffing up. The alien backing away. Kimchi's attack. The alien falling over the edge. She opened her social media app and posted the video. Alien invasion stopped by my grandma's cat? I am not joking. Then she locked her balcony door, put Kimchi down, and poured herself a very large drink. The Nexar climbed down the building and disappeared into the shadows. It would not go near balconies with cats on them again. On the command ship, Hyuk watched Subject Omega-7 retreat to the extraction point. Recall all units, he said quietly. We need to study these cats. The video went online at 3:47 a.m. Seoul time. By 4 a.m. it had 1 million views. By 5 a.m. 10 million. By dawn the entire planet had seen it. The humans were not afraid. They were laughing. They were posting pictures of their own cats with captions like, "Ready for alien combat," and "Earth's secret weapon." The invasion was already falling apart, and it had only been 4 hours. The video spread across Earth like wildfire. By morning, every human with internet access had seen it. The alien monster climbing over the balcony, the small orange cat making itself big, the terrible sounds, the alien backing away, the final attack, the retreat. People shared it millions of times. They added music. They added text. They made jokes. Someone put a superhero cape on Kimchi using computer effects. Someone else added explosion sounds when he attacked. Within hours, there were hundreds of versions of the same video, each one more ridiculous than the last. But they were all making the same point. The aliens sent their monster. A house cat beat it. Hyuk stood in the command center and watched the human internet with growing horror. This was not how invasions worked. The prey species should be terrified. They should be hiding. They should be begging for mercy. Instead, they were making something called memes. Sir, we have a problem, Minho said. He pulled up multiple screens. Subject Omega-3 encountered a feline in Tokyo. Subject Omega-5 met one in London. Subject Omega-9 found one in New York. They are all retreating. Hyuk watched the feeds. In Tokyo, a small black and white cat had chased his Nexar into a subway tunnel. The creature was still down there, refusing to come out. In London, a round, fluffy cat with a flat face had claimed an entire apartment building by sitting in the doorway. 3 Nexar had tried to enter. All 3 had turned around. In New York, a hairless cat with huge ears had somehow made a Nexar fall into a fountain. This is impossible, Hyuk said. The Nexar are the perfect hunters. They have never failed. Never retreated, never shown fear. Sir, I have been studying the cats, Minho said. He brought up analysis charts. I think I understand what is happening. These creatures behave like apex predators. They have the confidence of the galaxy's most dangerous hunters. But they are very small. The size does not match the behavior. So the Nexar are confused. Their threat assessment systems look at the cats and see maximum danger signals. Territorial aggression. No fear, direct eye contact. These are things that apex predators do. But the size says the cat should not be dangerous. The Nexar cannot process the contradiction. They default to the safer choice. They retreat. Hyuk sat down heavily. You are telling me that our perfect weapon is afraid of pets? Not afraid, exactly. More like, very cautious. And the cats are not helping. They seem to enjoy making the Nexar uncomfortable. This was true. All over Earth, cats were encountering the Nexar and reacting the same way. They puffed up. They made terrible noises. They acted like the Nexar were the smallest, weakest things they had ever seen. And the Nexar, bred for thousands of years to be fearless, were backing down every single time. The humans noticed. Of course they noticed. And they did what humans do best. They took a crisis and turned it into entertainment. Animal shelters reported that people were adopting every available cat. Adoption rates went up by 400% in one day. People who had never owned cats before were suddenly taking home 2 or 3. When reporters asked why, the answer was always the same. For the defense of Earth, they said. And they were not entirely joking. Someone created a website that tracked Nexar sightings and showed the nearest cats. People used it to make sure their neighborhoods were protected. If an area had no cats, people would bring some. Within 48 hours, there was not a single block in any major city that did not have at least 3 cats. The humans started posting pictures of their new defenders. Cats sleeping on keyboards with captions like resting. Between alien battles, cats staring out windows with captions like monitoring the perimeter. Cats knocking things off. Tables with captions like training exercises. The humans thought it was hilarious. Hyuk did not think it was hilarious. He thought it was a disaster. The Vrelian High Council contacted him. Their holographic forms appeared in his command center, all looking very unhappy. Explain this situation, demanded High Chancellor Borum. She was old and mean, and Hyuk had always been slightly afraid of her. The humans have domesticated a predator species, Hyuk said carefully. These cats retain full hunting psychology. They are extremely territorial and show no fear. The Nexar interpret them as major threats, then use different tactics, another council member said. We have other weapons. We could, Hyuk agreed. But there is another problem. The humans are documenting everything. Every encounter. Every Nexar retreat. They are posting it for the entire planet to see. Our psychological advantage is gone. They are not afraid of us. They think we are funny. He showed them the videos. The council watched in silence as cats chased Nexar down streets, batted at them with paws, sat on their equipment, made them trip over their own legs trying to get away. Someone had made a song about it. It was called the Cat Defense Force and it had a catchy tune. It already had 50 million downloads. This is unacceptable, Borum said. We are the Vrelian Empire. We have conquered 47 worlds. We cannot be stopped by small furry animals. And yet, Hyuk said quietly, we are being stopped. In Seoul, Jiwon's life had become very strange very quickly. News crews camped outside her apartment building. Her video had been viewed 300 million times. People recognized her on the street. Her phone never stopped ringing. The government called her. Actually called her. A serious woman named Sunhee from the Ministry of Defense. Ms. Jiwon, we need your help, Sunhee said. My help? I just posted a video. You posted the video that changed everything. The aliens are requesting a diplomatic meeting. They specifically asked for the guardian of the Orange Warrior. Jiwon looked at Kimchi. He was sleeping in a patch of sunlight, his belly up, looking completely harmless. You want me to bring my grandmother's cat to meet aliens? We want to understand what makes these cats so effective. Your cat has the most documented success. He is just a cat. He does not like things in his space. That is it. That attitude has apparently destabilized an interstellar empire. Please, Miss Jiwon, your planet needs you. And Kimchi. So that was how Jiwon found herself in a government office holding Kimchi's carrier, facing a panel of military officials who all looked very serious and very confused. The aliens want to meet tomorrow, Sunhee explained. In the park by the river. Neutral ground. They say they want to understand the cats before they make their next decision. What kind of decision? Whether to continue the invasion with different methods or, Sunhee paused, or to explore diplomatic options. They are considering peace because of cats? They are considering peace because their primary weapon is afraid to go near buildings with cats in them. And because the entire human population is laughing at them on the internet. Jiwon looked at Kimchi again. He yawned, showing all his teeth. He had no idea he was important. He was just annoyed about being in a carrier. Okay, Ji-won said. I will do it. But if the aliens try anything, Kimchi will mess them up. Sun-hee almost smiled. I believe you. That night, the government sent out a message to all humans. The aliens wanted to talk. There would be a meeting. Everyone should stay calm and keep their cats indoors. The humans did not keep their cats indoors. Instead, hundreds of people brought their cats to the park to watch. They wanted to see what would happen. They wanted their cats to be part of history. By the time the sun rose on the day of the meeting, there were thousands of people in the park. And they had brought cats. So many cats. Orange cats and black cats and white cats and striped cats and spotted cats. Fat cats and skinny cats and old cats and tiny kittens. All of them ready to defend Earth if necessary. The aliens were going to have a very interesting day. The morning of the meeting was bright and clear. The park by the Han River filled with people early. They brought blankets and cameras and cats. So many cats. Security tried to set up barriers, but it was impossible. There were simply too many humans who wanted to see what would happen when their planet's leaders met with aliens who were afraid of house pets. Ji-won stood in the center of a cleared area with Kimchi in a harness. The cat hated the harness. He sat down and refused to move, his tail lashing in irritation. Ji-won had brought treats, toys, and her grandmother for moral support. Stop looking so nervous, her grandmother said. The aliens are more scared than you are. They came from space in giant ships with weapons, and your cat made their monster run away. You have the power here. Sun-hee and her security team stood nearby. News cameras were everywhere. The whole world was watching this live. Ji-won tried not to think about that. The alien ship descended slowly. It was smaller than the invasion ship, silver and smooth. It landed gently on the grass and a door opened. Two figures emerged. Hyuk was tall even for a Vrelian. His scales were blue-gray and caught the light. He had 4 arms and his face was difficult for humans to read, but his body language showed nervousness. Minhyo walked beside him, carrying some kind of electronic tablet. They approached the meeting area carefully. Their eyes moved constantly, scanning the crowds, scanning the hundreds of cats. One cat, a large black one, walked directly across their path. Hyuk stopped walking immediately. The cat sat down and stared at him. Hyuk took a careful step around the cat. The cat watched him go, looking smug. They really are afraid, Ji-won whispered to her grandmother. Respect, her grandmother corrected. They have learned respect. Hyuk reached the meeting table. Ji-won walked forward with Kimchi. The cat finally agreed to walk, but only because he wanted to investigate the aliens himself. I am Commander Hyuk of the Vrelian Empire, the alien said. His voice came from a device on his chest, translating his words to Korean. I request diplomatic conversation with the guardian of the Orange Defender. Kimchi jumped onto the table. He sat down right in the middle and began cleaning his paw, completely ignoring the aliens. Hyuk looked at the cat. The cat looked back. Then Kimchi yawned, showing all his teeth. Hyuk took a small step backward. Please sit, Ji-won said, gesturing to a chair. Kimchi will not attack unless you threaten him. I have no intention of threatening him, Hyuk said quickly. He sat down, but he kept watching the cat. Sun-hee sat down as well, with several other government officials. Minhyo stood behind Hyuk, still watching all the cats around them nervously. Let me be direct, Hyuk said. Your species confuses us greatly. You are physically weak. Your technology is primitive compared to ours. You have no natural weapons, yet you live alongside creatures that our analysis says are dangerous predators. And you call them pets. They are pets, Ji-won said.
Kimchi sleeps on my bed.
He knocks things off shelves for fun. He is afraid of cucumbers. Impossible. Our sensors register him as a Class 7 threat entity. Ji-won pulled out her phone. Look, this is from last week. She showed him a video of Kimchi trying to jump onto a counter, missing and falling into a laundry basket. Does that look like a Class 7 threat? Minhyo leaned over to watch the video. He made a sound that might have been confusion. But his confidence, his aggression, how can he be both clumsy and fearsome? Because he does not know he should be afraid, Ji-won's grandmother spoke up. No one told him he is small. In his mind, he is the biggest, most dangerous thing around, and that confidence makes him dangerous in a way, not because he can hurt you, but because he believes he can. Hyuk was quiet for a long moment. This is the key, is it not? Humans are like your cats, small in the scale of the galaxy, fragile, but convinced of your own strength. We prefer determined, son, he said. We studied your militaries, Hayuk continued, your weapons, your defensive capabilities, but we did not study your psychology. We thought you would respond like prey animals. You would see our power and surrender. But you did not. You laughed. You made jokes. You adopted more cats. 400% increase in adoptions, one of the officials confirmed proudly. You turned our invasion into entertainment, Hayuk said. There was something like awe in his translated voice. We turned your invasion into a learning opportunity, Sun-Hee corrected. We learned that your weapons are afraid of cats. That seems like useful information. Minho spoke up. Commander, I have been analyzing human cultural databases. They have a history of this behavior. They domesticated wolves, one of their apex predators, and turned them into companion animals. They went into space using primitive chemical rockets. They create art about death and loss and call it beautiful. They do not accept limitations the way other species do. Because limitations are just suggestions, Jiwon's grandmother said. Humans are very bad at following suggestions. Kimchi chose that moment to prove a point. He walked across the table to where Minho was holding his tablet and sat down directly on top of it. Please move, Minho said politely. Kimchi did not move. He settled down more firmly and closed his eyes. I cannot move him, Minho said to Hyuk. The device says I should not touch him without permission. So ask permission. Hyuk said, May I please move you? Minho asked the cat. Kimchi opened one eye, looked at him with complete disdain, and went back to sleep. That is a no, Jiwon translated. Hyuk laughed. It was a strange sound like rocks grinding together, but it was definitely a laugh. He owns this table now. He owns everything, Jiwon agreed. He just lets us live here. The meeting continued with Kimchi sleeping on Minho's tablet. They talked about Earth's defenses, which mostly consisted of cats. They talked about the Vrelian Empire's plans, which were now in chaos. They talked about what would happen next. The High Council is meeting now, Hayuk said. They are deciding whether to continue invasion attempts or to pursue diplomatic relations. I will be honest with you. I have recommended diplomacy. Why? Sun-Hee asked. Because we cannot conquer a species that weaponizes confidence itself. Because every tactic we try, you will find a way to turn it into jokes and memes and internet videos. Because you have already won the psychological war. The entire galaxy is watching Earth now. They are watching to see if the species that stopped an invasion with house cats can do anything else impossible. We can do lots of impossible things, Jiwon said. We are very good at it. I believe you. Hayuk looked around at all the people and all the cats. I have conquered 47 worlds. None of them were like this. None of them adopted predators to defend themselves. None of them made me laugh during surrender negotiations. These are not surrender negotiations, Sun-Hee said firmly. No, Hayuk agreed. I suppose they are not. They are something new. Partnership negotiations, perhaps? Perhaps, Sun-Hee said carefully. But we will need guarantees. No more invasion attempts, no more Nexar in our cities. No threats, agreed. In exchange, we would like to establish diplomatic relations, trade agreements, cultural exchanges, Hyuk paused. And perhaps, we would like to understand how you live with these cats, how you domesticated confidence itself. We did not domesticate it, Jiwon's grandmother said. We made friends with it. We respected it. We gave it food and shelter and love, and in return, it tolerates us. Sometimes, when it feels like it. Kimchi woke up, stretched, and knocked Minho's tablet off the table. Sorry, Jiwon said. Do not apologize, Hyuk said. He is demonstrating exactly what you mean. He does what he wants. He fears nothing. He owns everything he can see. This is not a pet. This is a tiny emperor. All cats are tiny emperors, Jiwon agreed. The meeting lasted 3 hours. By the end, they had the outline of a peace agreement. The Vrelians would withdraw their invasion forces. Earth would allow them to establish an embassy. There would be trade discussions, cultural exchanges, treaties and agreements that diplomats would spend months writing. But the core of it was simple. The aliens had learned that Earth could not be conquered because Earth did not understand the word surrender, and also because of cats. As the aliens prepared to return to their ship, Hayuk stopped and looked at Kimchi one more time. The cat was sitting on Jiwon's shoulder now, surveying his kingdom. May I ask one more question? Hyuk said, of course, if I wanted to understand these cats better. To perhaps have one as a cultural liaison. Would that be possible? Jiwon grinned. You want a cat? For diplomatic purposes only, Hyuk said quickly. Sure, Jiwon said. For diplomatic purposes. I know where you can adopt one. The humans watching cheered. The aliens had come to conquer Earth. Instead, they were going home with cats. 3 days after the meeting in the park, Jiwon found herself at an animal shelter with an alien commander who was very nervous about cats. They will not all attack me, correct? Hyuk asked, looking through the window at rows of cages filled with cats of every size and color. They will not attack at all unless you provoke them, Jiwon assured him, and even then they will probably just hiss and run away. You are much bigger than they are. Size does not seem to matter with these creatures. No, Jiwon agreed. It really does not. The shelter manager, a woman named Yoonji, was excited to help. She had already prepared several candidates. Cats that she thought would be good for a first-time owner who happened to be an alien from a military background who was secretly terrified of small animals. This is Tofu, Yoonji said, opening a large cage. A massive cat emerged. He had long gray and white fur and enormous golden eyes. He looked permanently worried about something. Tofu looked at Hyuk. Hyuk looked at Tofu. He is very large, Hyuk observed. He is a Maine Coon. They get big, but he is very gentle. Watch. Yoonji picked up the cat. Tofu went limp in her arms like he had no bones at all. See, very relaxed. He likes everyone. May I touch him? Of course. Hyuk reached out carefully with one hand. He touched the cat's head very gently. Tofu started purring, a sound like distant thunder. What is that noise? Is he angry? That is purring. It means he is happy. Cats purr when they are content. Hyuk touched the cat again, more confidently this time. Tofu pushed his head into Hyuk's hand, demanding more attention. I think he likes you, Jiwon said. This is acceptable, Hyuk said, but he was already scratching behind Tofu's ears like he had been doing it his whole life. 30 minutes later, Hyuk left the shelter with adoption papers, a carrier containing one very large cat and a shopping bag full of supplies. Jiwon had helped him buy food, bowls, toys, a litter box, and a bed that Tofu would definitely never use because cats prefer to sleep wherever they are not supposed to. Remember, Jiwon said as she helped him load everything into the diplomatic vehicle, cats are independent. Do not take it personally if he ignores you sometimes. That is just what they do, I understand. I will provide food and shelter. He will provide... What will he provide? Company, entertainment, attitude, sometimes dead bugs. You will see. Hyuk's apartment was in a building the Earth government had prepared for the Vrelian diplomatic team. It was nice but empty. Hyuk had not bothered to decorate. He spent all his time working, trying to understand humans and their strange way of thinking. He set down the carrier and opened it carefully. Tofu emerged, looked around, and immediately walked to the biggest chair in the room and jumped onto it. That is my chair, Hyuk said. Tofu settled down, arranged his tail around himself, and closed his eyes. That was my chair, Hyuk corrected himself. Over the next few days, Hyuk learned what it meant to live with a cat. He learned that feeding time was not his decision. It was Tofu's decision, and Tofu would tell him when it was time by yelling and walking between his legs until he tripped. He learned that the toys he bought were less interesting than the box they came in. He learned that when he was trying to work, that was when Tofu most wanted attention. He also learned that having a warm, purring creature sleep on his lap while he read reports was surprisingly pleasant. That watching the cat chase a toy mouse was entertaining. That Tofu somehow knew when Hyuk was stressed and would come sit nearby, not demanding anything, just being present. Hyuk started sending reports back to the High Council. They were not normal military reports. Day 5. The cat has claimed all comfortable furniture. I have purchased new furniture. This was apparently incorrect. He prefers my furniture. Day 12. Tofu brought me a dead insect. Research indicates this is a gift. I thanked him. He seemed satisfied. Day 20. The cat sleeps on my datapad whenever I attempt to work. I have learned to work around him. This is apparently what living with cats requires. Constant adaptation. Day 28. I purchase toys. Tofu prefers the plastic ring from a milk bottle. I have given up trying to understand his preferences. Minho visited regularly to check on his commander. and to see how the cultural liaison program was going. He found Hyuk on the floor dragging a string while Tofu stalked and attacked it with great intensity. "Sir, the High Council is requesting an update on the diplomatic situation. Tell them it proceeds well. The humans are cooperative. Their cats are educational. You are playing with your cat, sir." "I am engaging in cross-species cultural exchange," Hyuk corrected, but he did not stop moving the string. Minho sat down and watched. "He seems to trust you now." "Yes, it took time. I had to learn his rules. Where he likes to be touched. When he wants food. What sounds mean play and what sounds mean go away. Cats have many rules. They do not tell you the rules. You must learn by making mistakes. That sounds frustrating." "It is. But also interesting. Tofu is teaching me to observe carefully, to notice small signals, to respect boundaries." Hyuk paused the string game. Tofu sat down and started cleaning his paw. Playtime apparently over. "I think this is why humans are so good at diplomacy. They live with creatures that have their own desires and boundaries. They learn compromise every day. The Vrelian Empire does not compromise. And how many allies do we have, Minho? Real allies, not conquered subjects? None. Because we never learned to live with others as equals. We only learned to dominate." Minho was quiet. This was dangerously close to criticizing the Empire. But he could not argue. Hyuk was right. "The Council has made their decision," Minho said finally. "They are accepting your recommendation. No more invasion attempts. Full diplomatic relations with Earth, trade agreements, cultural exchange programs. And they want to understand more about human-animal relationships. They want cats," Hyuk translated. "Several council members have expressed interest, yes." Hyuk laughed. "The mighty Vrelian Empire conquered by small furry creatures that knock things off tables." "We were not conquered," Minho protested. "Were we not? We came here to take this planet. Instead, we are adopting their pets and learning to play with string toys. If that is not conquest, I do not know what is." Ji-won visited a few days later to check on how Hyuk was adjusting. She found him working at a desk while Tofu slept on a pile of papers. "You need those papers?" she asked. "They were important yesterday. Today they are a cat bed. Such is life. You are learning fast. I had a good teacher." Hyuk gestured to Kimchi, who had come along for the visit and was currently investigating every corner of the apartment. "Your orange warrior taught us that confidence is not about size. It is about certainty. Cats are certain they are important. That certainty makes them important. And humans? Humans are certain they can solve any problem, overcome any obstacle, befriend any creature. That certainty makes it true. You do not accept that something is impossible. You simply have not figured it out yet." Ji-won sat down on the couch. Kimchi jumped up next to her. "Is that why you recommended peace? Because you realized we would never stop fighting?" "Partly, but also because I realized you had something we wanted. Not territory. Not resources. You have the ability to live with things that are different from you, to respect them without dominating them. The Vrelian Empire has forgotten how to do that if we ever knew. So Tofu is teaching you? Every day? Today he taught me that the water bowl is only acceptable if I refill it completely, even though it was still half full. Yesterday he taught me that 3 a.m. is an acceptable time to practice hunting skills on my feet while I sleep." Ji-won laughed. "Welcome to cat ownership. I prefer to think Tofu owns me and I am allowed to live here and provide services. That is more accurate." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the cats. Tofu woke up, stretched, and moved from the papers to Hyuk's lap. The alien commander froze. "Is this acceptable?" he asked. "May I move?" "You can move, but you will upset him. Better to just accept your fate. You are furniture now." Hyuk settled back, his hand automatically moving to stroke Tofu's fur. The cat purred. "I have commanded fleets," Hyuk said thoughtfully. "I have conquered worlds. I have made generals tremble. And now I am afraid to move because I might disturb a cat." "That means you are learning respect," Ji-won said. "Real respect, not fear. Not obedience. Respect for another creature's comfort and needs. Is this what makes humans strong? This respect? Maybe. Or maybe it is just what makes us human. We care about things, even small things, even things that do not matter in the grand scheme of the universe. We care about whether a cat is comfortable. We care about whether a stranger is happy. We care, and that caring makes us try harder, do better, be more." Kimchi jumped onto Hyuk's other side, apparently deciding the alien was acceptable. Now Hayek had 2 cats on him. He looked at Jiwon helplessly. You definitely cannot move now, she said. This is my life now. Could be worse. Hyuk looked down at the 2 cats, both purring, both trusting him enough to sleep on him. No, he agreed quietly. It could not be better. 6 months passed. The Vrelian invasion fleet had returned home, leaving only diplomatic staff on Earth. Hayek was now officially the Vrelian ambassador, a position he had never wanted but accepted with grace. His days of conquest were over. His days of understanding were beginning. The peace treaty was signed in Geneva. Humans and Vrelians stood together while cameras from across the planet recorded the moment. Both species promised non-aggression, open trade, and cultural exchange. It was the first time the Vrelian Empire had signed a treaty with anyone as equals. The High Council watched from their distant planet with mixed feelings. Some thought it was shameful to make peace with such a primitive species. Others thought it was practical. They could not win a war against an enemy that responded to violence with laughter and house cats. Better to be friends than to keep losing to pets. Chancellor Borum retired after the treaty was signed. She was old and tired and had conquered enough planets for one lifetime. The new chancellor was younger, more flexible. He had a cat now, a small black one named Midnight. He claimed it was for diplomatic purposes, but everyone had seen the pictures he posted on the Vrelian equivalent of social media. The chancellor playing with a feather toy. The chancellor with the cat sleeping on his head. The chancellor was definitely not keeping the cat for diplomatic purposes. On Earth, life returned to normal, but with some changes. There were aliens living in every major city now. Vrelian diplomats, scientists, traders. They walked through human streets carefully, always watching for cats. Most of them got their own cats eventually. They claimed it helped them understand humans better. This was partly true. Mostly they just liked the cats. Hyuk's apartment was no longer empty and cold. It was full of cat furniture, toys, and a very large cat who believed he owned everything. Tofu had grown comfortable with his alien owner. He slept on Hyuk's bed every night, taking up most of it. He supervised all of Hyuk's work. He demanded food at specific times and accepted no excuses. He is a tyrant, Hyuk told Jiwon during one of her visits. All cats are tyrants, she agreed. That is their charm. I do not understand how this is charming. You will. Give it time. Hyuk was giving a presentation at a human university. Earth wanted to teach their people about the Vrelians. The Vrelians wanted to teach humans about the wider galaxy. It seemed like a fair exchange. He stood in front of 200 human students and tried to explain how first contact had gone so wrong. We made assumptions, he said. We thought we understood you. We had data about your physical capabilities, your technology, your military strength. But we did not understand your psychology. We did not know that you domesticate predators, that you live alongside danger and call it friendship, that you face impossible situations with humor instead of fear. A student raised their hand. Sir, is it true that your invasion failed because of cats? Yes, just cats? Just cats. And human confidence, and internet memes, and the fact that you somehow turned an invasion into entertainment. Hyuk paused. You are a very strange species, the students laughed. They took it as a compliment. What is the galaxy saying about us? Another student asked. They are fascinated and terrified. Fascinated because you are unlike any species we have encountered. Terrified because if you can stop the Vrelian Empire with house pets, what else can you do? What else can we do? The student pressed. That is what everyone wants to know. There are 47 species that the Vrelian Empire conquered. They are all watching Earth now. They are asking themselves why they surrendered when you did not. Some of them are starting to ask for independence, for their own treaties, for respect. This caused murmuring in the audience. The students had not realized their resistance had inspired others. You changed the galaxy, Hyuk continued. Not with weapons, not with threats. You changed it by refusing to accept that you could be conquered. That kind of certainty is contagious. Other species are learning it from you. And the Vrelian Empire? A professor asked from the back. How do they feel about this change? Some are angry. Some are afraid. But most are relieved, I think. Conquest is exhausting, always needing to be the strongest, the most feared. It is tiring. Peace is easier. Partnership is better. We are learning this slowly. After the presentation, students crowded around him with questions about his planet, about Vrelian culture, about life in space. About whether he really had a cat. Yes, I have a cat. His name is Tofu. He is probably destroying something in my apartment right now. They made him show pictures. He had many pictures. Tofu sleeping, Tofu playing, Tofu sitting in a box that was too small for him. The students loved every single one. At the Vrelian embassy, Minho was dealing with a crisis. 3 more council members had requested cats. The problem was finding cats that would tolerate being transported to another planet. They are not items we can just ship, the shelter coordinator told him. They are living creatures with needs and preferences. They need to be healthy enough for space travel. They need to adapt to new environments. And honestly, I am not sure how they will react to artificial gravity or alien food or any of this. What if we started with cats that are already adaptable? Ones that do well with change? Most cats hate change. Yes, but some must be better at it than others. They worked it out eventually. Cats that were young, healthy, and had shown good temperament were selected for the space program. Yes, it was now called the space program. Humans were sending cats to alien worlds. This was their life now. The first cat to leave Earth was a small tabby named Star. She was chosen because she loved everyone, traveled well, and was not afraid of anything. The council member who received her cried when she started purring in his arms. Vrelians did not usually cry, but there he was, tears in his eyes, holding a small Earth cat. She trusts me, he said in wonder. Of course she does, the handler said. You smell like tuna. You are her favorite person now. News of the space program spread across Earth quickly. People were proud that their cats were ambassadors to the stars. Shelters reported even higher adoption rates. Everyone wanted a cat that might go to space someday. Jiwon's life had settled into a strange new normal. She was still technically the guardian of Kimchi, the cat that started everything, but now she was also an advisor to the government on human-alien relations. She helped aliens understand cats. She helped cats understand aliens. It was bizarre, but she liked it. She visited Hyuk one evening and found him having an argument with Tofu. You have food in your bowl, Hyuk was saying. It is the same food you ate yesterday. The same food you demanded I buy because it was your favorite. Why will you not eat it now? Tofu sat by his empty water bowl and yowled. Your water is also full. I just filled it. What do you want? Tofu yowled again. Jiwon cleared her throat. Try dumping out the water and refilling it. He wants fresh water even though that water is already fresh. Hyuk did this. Tofu immediately started drinking. This makes no sense, Hyuk said. Welcome to cats. Nothing makes sense. You just have to accept it. They sat on the couch together, watching Tofu drink his freshly filled water that was identical to the water that was there 30 seconds ago. Do you ever regret how things turned out? Jiwon asked. You were a commander. Now you are a diplomat who argues with cats. No regrets, Hyuk said firmly. Commanding was about control. Diplomacy is about understanding. This is better. More difficult, but better. And Tofu? Hyuk smiled. Something he had learned to do from watching humans. Tofu teaches me patience every single day. He teaches me that things do not always go according to plan. That sometimes you have to stop working because a cat is sitting on your keyboard. That the universe does not revolve around military strategy and conquest. Sometimes the most important thing is making sure your cat is happy. That is very philosophical. I have learned philosophy from a creature that is afraid of cucumbers. This is my life. Kimchi chose that moment to jump onto Hyuk's lap. The alien had passed the test. He was accepted by Earth's most famous cat. You know the galaxy talks about you, Jiwon said. The Vrelian commander who was defeated by a cat and then adopted one. You are famous, I am infamous. There is a difference. Is there? No, probably not. They sat in comfortable silence until Tofu finished his water and came to join them on the couch. Now Hyuk had 2 cats on him again. He had stopped being surprised by this. It happened most evenings, I have been thinking, Hyuk said. The galaxy has changed because of cats. Because of the confidence they taught us. Because they showed us that size and strength are not everything. What else can Earth teach the galaxy? Lots of things, Jiwon said. We have dogs. They are even more friendly than cats. We have art and music and terrible food combinations that somehow taste good. We have sports where we throw balls at each other for fun. We have so much weird stuff to share. The galaxy is not ready for dogs, Hyuk said firmly. Probably not, but they will learn. Just like you learned about cats. That took 6 months and I am still learning. Exactly. The galaxy has time. Time passed. Years passed. Earth joined the galactic community not as a conquered world, but as a partner. They brought their cats. They brought their confidence. They brought their strange human belief that anything was possible if you tried hard enough, and maybe got a little lucky.